Today we're doing chapter 9, and this is a very, how to say it, also a very consequential chapter, I like to call it. So basically, we continue from the other chapter before, and we start off here saying, Thou hast multiplied the nation, but not increased the joy. And though the yoke is broken of his burden, the staff at his shoulder of the rod of his oppressor. To me, it doesn't make sense. Remember, in the Bible, will say, What gaineth a man if he gaineth the world and loseth his soul? And this is basically a very good example of that because they were multiplied in the nations, but they lost their joy, you know. And the only person who could have saved them was Jesus. And he shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. And that is what this entire world lacks today is peace. We live in fear, anxiety, depression, worry, stress, and we all need that peace, right? And of the increase of his government and peace shall be no end upon the throne of David, and upon the kingdom to order it and establish it with a judgment and with justice. So God's people are the only ones who will experience peace. And as we all know, the tribe of Judah and that and David was made king, and he was a man after God's heart. Right? And the Lord sent a word unto Jacob and enlightened upon Israel. And that is what we all want. We want to see the light, we want guidance, we want God to direct our path. And a lot of people is not interested in being saved or getting to know God or anything like that. They're just more interested in living life, enjoying it, and making ends meet. And we always forget to put God first, the person who blesses us, right? And then he said here, the inhabitant of the pride that stay in pride and the stoutness of the heart. God will give us answers and direction, but sometimes we will not like it. And it's up to us if we want to receive it. So God sent his word, but because they were pride and stubborn, the bricks are fallen and the sycamores are cut down and will change them into cedars, and the Lord shall set up the adversaries and the Syrians before the Philistines, and they shall devour Israel. For his anger is not turned away, but his hands are stretched out. And twice he said that. And the reason why that is very significant because we could anger God, but it doesn't mean that his mercy is not there, or his grace, or his love. They said nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. So yes, we will have sin, and we have to pay the consequences of our sin. But God has his hand stretched out for us, right? For the people turn not unto him that smited them, neither do they seek the Lord of hosts. And because of that, they experience a lot of chaos and pain and destruction. And even though, again, he mentioned his anger is there, he did not remove his hand. So they could have had the power to change this if it is they went and seek God. Right? And I say, for the wickedness burneth as a fire, they shall devour the barriers and thorns, and they shall kindle the thinkers of the forest. And the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and the land darkened. And that is what happens when we don't seek God. And we wonder why things are there, and we will say like a vain prayer, but only God knows our heart. Right? And the last few chapters are very disturbing because they say, No man shall spare his brother, and he shall snatch on the right hand and be hungry, and he shall eat on the left hand, and they shall not be satisfied. They shall eat every man the flesh of his own arm. For all this, the anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. So imagine people are so stubborn, as we read, that they're basically eating their own self because they're talking about one another. It could be, cannibalism, and they will not turn to God. Because why? Men love darkness. So whatever you're facing, and even though you think that God isn't answering your prayer, or reflect back on your life and what you're going through and ask yourself, is this the consequences of my sin? Did I anger God? And if your answer is yes to any one of these, or you don't even know if it is true, always remember that God's hand is stretched out for us.